Saying so long to a gentle giant and a small win in court for a rapper.
5 of 9 claims have been dismissed. 4 still remain. Small win, nonetheless a win for Diddy.
Hey yo, what's up friends? Even if many didn't think so, Diddy was able to score a small legal victory for the first time on Monday, when a federal judge dismissed the RICO charge and 4 other charges in one of the most incriminating indictments against Diddy. The charges were brought by producer Rodney "Little Rod" Jones, whose accusations triggered a wave of further proceedings against Diddy and his companies. Little Rod was hired by Diddy in 2002 to work on his album called The Love Album, and was thus part of Diddy's inner circle for more than a year. He lived and traveled with him, produced songs, and worked as Diddy's personal photographer, among other things. But after leaving, he claimed, among other things, that he had been manipulated and exploited. He also claims that he never received $50,000 in outstanding payments, as well as shares in releases and royalties for his work on the Grammy-nominated album. For this reason, he filed a lawsuit against Diddy in federal court in New York on February 26, 2024, seeking $30 million in damages. In the Diddy Files, I will go into this in detail. Part 1 comes out this Saturday, so be sure to check it out if you want to learn everything about Diddy's life up to the lawsuits. Now, 5 of the 9 charges against Diddy have been dropped in court. That's because the judge ruled this Monday that Little Rod had not been able to prove that he had suffered business or financial damages as a result of a RICO enterprise allegedly run by Diddy. And without that proof, a lawsuit is not admissible. Nor could Little Rod's claim that he had not been paid be directly linked to an alleged criminal organization. The judge said in court that Diddy's alleged refusal to fulfill the contract with Little Rod does not in itself constitute a RICO violation, even if the breach of contract was due to Little Rod's refusal to participate in Diddy's alleged activities. Furthermore, Little Rod could not prove any contracts between Diddy or his entourage. So the judge announced that even if Little Rod had sufficiently demonstrated the existence of a RICO enterprise, he had not been able to prove that he had suffered any damage as a result of these business dealings. Thus, the accusation of breach of contract was also rejected, which is why Little Rod's claim for damages for emotional distress was considered unfounded. In his 31-page statement, the judge announced that more than half of the charges had been dismissed, leaving Diddy to answer only for assault and human trafficking. Oh well, only human trafficking. The civil case remains in place, but without the RICO accusation, the breach of contract accusation, and 3 counts of emotional distress. However, despite this partial dismissal, the judge admonished and criticized Little Rod's lawyer, criticizing the plaintiff's side for trying to artificially inflate an ordinary breach of contract case into a RICO lawsuit in order to profit from it. As a result, the judge told the court that Little Rod's arguments do not address the RICO arguments and has failed to provide any evidence to support a RICO indictment. He then issued a clear warning to the attorney, criticizing his indictment as full of inaccurate legal statements, unfounded accusations, and inappropriate personal attacks on the opposing side. He even described some statements as absurd conceptions of the law that were not only disturbing but also shocking. This behavior should not be tolerated, especially from a licensed attorney, which is why the judge threatened a possible sanction or a report to the Bar Association if it continued during the trial. But despite the judge's clear words, Little Rod's attorney remained unimpressed and stated yesterday that he respects the judge's decision and is pleased that he can now start taking evidence against Diddy. He announced, "We see this as a victory. The defendants wanted a complete dismissal, but they did not succeed. I know where all the bodies are buried, and I have a very big shovel. It's time to dig." So Diddy still has to answer to the civil court, even though many of the charges have been dropped. On May 5th, the main criminal proceedings against him will finally begin, which represent a much greater burden. While the civil proceedings are primarily about compensation payments, the criminal proceedings focus on the question of whether Diddy will go to prison or not. Therefore, this trial could decide Diddy's entire life. However, since Diddy was acquitted of all RICO charges in the civil case, This could perhaps have an impact on the criminal case, as it could be seen as an indication that Diddy cannot be proven to have led a criminal organization in the civil case.
Does that mean that Sean Combs had a RICO enterprise? Maybe, maybe not. But it means in the civil lawsuit, it's not going to apply.
Hey, I'm slowly becoming a real lawyer, the amount I've read about lawsuits in the last few months. But it remains exciting. Last month, it was announced that there were even difficulties with Diddy's defense. On February 20th, Diddy's attorney, Anthony RICO, filed a motion in a Manhattan court to withdraw as Diddy's defense attorney.
A lawyer for Sean Diddy, Combs, has quit, leaving the rapper's legal team. He didn't give an explanation, but wrote, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel."
In his statement, the lawyer emphasized that under no circumstances can he continue to effectively act as a lawyer for Sean Diddy Combs. However, he did not give any official reasons and referred to the protection of attorney-client confidentiality as the reason for his brief statement. He did, however, assure in his statement that his departure would have no impact on the trial, as Diddy will continue to be represented by 5 other lawyers. Incidentally, the charges against Jay-Z were also dropped last month, in which a woman sued Jay-Z for $50 million in damages because Jay-Z allegedly became abusive in 2000. However, the plaintiff announced that she had invented the incident with Jay-Z, which is why Jay-Z sued the woman's lawyer, Tony Bosby. According to media reports, Jay-Z is suing the lawyer for $20 million in damages due to the harm caused by the lawsuit. This not only shows how quickly a case can turn, but also that a lot of the accusations need to be viewed critically. Tony Bosby, who now demonstrably represents people who turn out to be liars, is also the lawyer who represents the 120 people who have brought charges against Diddy. So Tony Bosby's lack of credibility also plays into Diddy's hands. Well, I'll of course keep digging for you. And as always, I'm curious to know what you think about all of this. Do you think that the other charges against Diddy won't hold up in court either? Or do you say that was just the beginning, and now things are really going downhill for Diddy? Feel free to write it in the comments. Also, feel free to check out my other videos. Stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Bugatty.